Hello and welcome to the next edition of Concussions Anonymous. My name is Karen Monet from the Opticom Visual Stress Clinic.
And I'm Lisa Cara from Inbalance Pilates. Thanks so much for joining our show tonight, and we're happy to be here.
It's been a few weeks and we could explain it away, but let's just say it's been a few weeks and we're happy to be here.
Exactly. It's been a few weeks and we're back. We're back into our show. So our show tonight is I have had, I think with the May long weekend and a lot of traveling, I had a lot of client questions this month on, Lisa, what are your tips on how to travel with post-concussion syndrome?
Post-concussion syndrome, one of the main symptoms that we get reported to us is difficulty with movement, difficulty with patterns, and difficulty with flicker. Flicker is when you're driving and the signposts are going past you, or the lines on the road, or the cars,
the trees,
all of
everything.
the things that are going past you. That flicker is a real trigger for discomfort. So it's no surprise that you've been getting questions on people being afraid and cautious and concerned and looking for help on what to do post-concussion when you need to drive somewhere.
Definitely, yeah. And sometimes just it's so nice to, when you know someone else that's gone through something and just their tips and being aside from professionals coming to the professionals as well, just getting that like down to earth knowledge and tips for what's worked, right? So we'll start and we wanted to say on our YouTube channel, of course, Concussions Anonymous, remember to like and subscribe. You can hit that red bell button on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We would appreciate that.
We are going to start putting in our channel some of our favorite videos from other concussion related videos, people who posted other things that might be good resources for you as well. So take a look at our favorited videos and some of our we're going to be grouping them, so take a look at those. We'll be putting some other videos up as well.
And in the comments on the YouTube as well, I'll link up, I've got these tips like written down, some of the tips we're going to go over tonight on a PDF, so I'll just link that up in the comments as well, and you'll have those. So we'll get right into it. We'll dive right in. Our first tip is to be sure to wear your earplugs. So if noise is something that bothers you, wear your earplugs or noise canceling headphones or something like that. So if noise is one of your triggers, definitely remember ways to quiet and calm that auditory system.
Yeah, being in a car is a hypersensitive activity. Not only your brain is concerned with all the sensations of location and placement and where you are, the things that are going around you visually, there are a lot of auditory noises that are consistent and also may be shocking as well, like a horn or those types of things that might trigger sort of, if it was a motor vehicle accident that led to your concussion, those noises might trigger your PTSD related to the accident. So an ambulance sound or things like that. As best as you can to muffle that stimuli from sound, the better it's going to be overall for your brain.
And if you're family and you're traveling with your children, that's a whole other ball of noise and fun that you want to just really take into consideration. And kind of one part of that is when you are with the family, try to avoid turning back and continually handing things
extra
back
movement.
To the family. Extra movement, extra head movement, extra just that kind of disoriented. Yeah.
As still as you can stay, not only
and comfortable.
Yes, obviously comfortable, but also as still as your vision, your eyes can stay. So if you can focus on something out off in the distance, and it was actually an occupational therapist who works with a lot of motor vehicle accident claimants who we work with, where they're asking them how can they drive, and one of the things they suggested is keeping your visual system as still as possible. So look for something off in the distance. Don't watch the cars that are moving back and forth. Don't watch the lines of the trees. Focus on something in the distance and move your focus continually at that distance so that your focus is stable and the height of your focus is stable as well. So that's something that will help limit the visual perception issues that you might have, the visual overload.
And our tip number 2 is all about vision and wearing our sunglasses, or if you have your Opticom lenses.
If you have precision tinted lenses that help reduce the trigger of the different light wavelengths to your brain, that's also very helpful. But I would like to add that even if you close your eyes, the light wavelengths are making their way through your eyelids. So it's best to, if you wear dark sunglasses, your lenses, or even block all light with those sleep masks. Something like that just reduces all the light, because even with your eyes closed, you can still see that flicker, and that flicker is going to be triggering your brain hyperactivity, and then all that reactions to all those other stimuli.
For myself too, I had that problem where I wasn't wanting to take in the periphery.
Okay.
So for someone like me, exactly, hat, hoodie, perhaps
good
on days
idea.
that it was really
excellent
flared
idea.
up. That's definitely one. But yeah, so bring your lenses, your sunglasses, your sleep mask, whatever.
Your cap, your hoodie.
Yes, whatever can.
Block as much stimuli as you can. So we've talked about sound, blocking as much sound, blocking as much visual. And what's your third point?
The next one is that you want to calm your mind and stress. So you might do that by meditating. You might choose to listen to a guided meditation. That might be during the drive, or definitely before.
That's a good idea. As long as the driver doesn't go into...
Listen to it maybe on your headphones.
Driver's like, no.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely meditation is like a daily non-negotiable. It's like medicine for all ailments, in my opinion.
Okay. We actually in the clinic have we listen to some certain spa music, and it's just a really relaxing, almost a white noise. So if you have a favorite spa,
or just music in general that you really enjoy. A
lot of this brainwave calming, there's a lot on YouTube, there's a lot of music like that that's just really soft background. Sometimes every once in a while there's bells and flutes and things, but just think spa music, something like that. Think massage, that kind of spa music. Again, not for the driver. Don't have them falling asleep on the road.
Yes. And yeah, these are all the tips, assuming that you are a passenger in the car.
Yes, please. Blinders.
And for that. And then our other tip was, obviously just staying hydrated and eating healthy food, right? So that's just, again, another daily non-negotiable, but just that taking care of your body in that way. So
that's another sensory issue is hunger. That feeling of when I'm going to eat next, I need something to drink. Absolutely. So keep the brain fed by eating.
Bring your
properly.
Snacks, have your water, all that kind of stuff.
What about timing? Is that one of your tips?
Yeah, we did. We talked about, sometimes sudden things come up, if something, there's a sudden need for you to leave. But if you can plan out, obviously taking into consideration pacing, so the day before and the day after. The day before, taking out some of the things that tend to flare you up. If you, if you have a certain amount of computer work to do, decrease it right down. Whatever your spoons are, you're taking that down a notch. And then, the next day, like sometimes, we can feel fine the day of, and it might be the next day where symptoms are really flared up. So if there's any way to not drive back the next day.
Or give yourself time, the event is finished at 4. Give yourself time to go sit in a park, go sit under a tree, go sit in some green space, and just zen yourself back to base. And breathe some fresh air before you put yourself back into that vehicle, because the next day, that stimuli, that overdose of activity could really set you back the next day.
Definitely.
Don't have big plans the next day either.
Exactly. Yeah. Really keep that pacing on your mind, and just knowing yourself for what things do flare you up. If you're at the point where it's still the socializing with too many people, a bunch of people come into the one room and you just get flooded with symptoms. So again, knowing, is it the environment of too many people? Is it the talking and listening to too many people? And then taking that into socialization. So knowing how it's just easier for you to socialize. Okay. So sometimes
do it in chunks. Go do the tour, visit the people you need to, and then excuse yourself and go find a quiet place to just regroup.
I remember the vision therapist that I saw would always tell me to, if I was sitting somewhere, try to sit where I could have the window so that when I was talking to someone,
good
I could
plan.
see out
Yes.
instead of the focal binding and just
Yes.
focusing on that. 'Cause that was,
And if you could sit somewhere where there wasn't a lot of activity on the other side of the person. So don't sit looking down a hallway with people walking back and forth.
yeah,
Or if there's a TV on, sit with your back to that TV. You want to try and reduce the visual stimuli again as much as possible. Don't sit facing a piece of art that's really heavily patterned. All of these things are just going to keep adding on to your discomfort.
Yeah.
So as simple a background as possible.
And knowing that, you know, when you first arrive, you know, your first kind of plan has to be take some refuge somewhere, right? Take some time to yourself. And sometimes that can be hard depending on where we go. And sometimes, you know, just even, you know, we talked about we're going to have a show sometime on just mom guilt alone.
Oh, yeah. The guilt of not being there 100%.
Exactly, yeah, of not being able to fully show up. But knowing that, you know, you've got to quickly forgive yourself and not have that shame and guilt for not being able to do certain things.
Well, we talked about this. You might decide not to do this drive, not to go to this event. And that is perfectly okay if you know that in doing this, even though you really want to go there, you really wish you could, if you know that the damage to you and your health and your recovery is going to be too much, then don't feel guilty. You know, I'm sorry, I broke my hip, I can't make it. Well, you didn't break your hip, but you have a concussion. It is equally as debilitating and as much a barrier to going to some events or even getting in the car, that it should be fair that explanation is enough, and don't feel guilty that is your explanation.
Exactly. And we talked about it on the Real Talk with Sarah when we were on the show. And just the whole point of we only have one brain, right? You only have one brain. And there's certain times that you have to say no and have to decline certain things. Like, just know that you are taking care of yourself and doing the best for yourself and your family.
Yeah, you have to be there for them as
well. Exactly. And unfortunately, sometimes we can be hard on ourselves. It can feel very selfish. I know some of the things I look back on that I missed during that time. There was a lot of you have to forgive yourself for taking care of yourself. Yeah, it's really important for sure. So the whole, you only have one brain, so take care, pace the day before, the day after.
I think that's all
I think those are main ones.
So it's true, we started talking about driving and post-concussion. It is very true that is something that has several different causes for concern, or trepidation, I guess would be a good word. Fear of doing it because perhaps that's how you got your concussion, the fear of another accident or just that anxiety associated with driving. But secondly, it is a very triggering activity. You're moving in the vehicle. You don't have as much control. You've got visual stimulation left and right, literally left and right, out your windows and in the back and forward.
And if there's people in the car.
Exactly. And there's caution of where you're going. There's some uncertainty. And already with a concussion, you have some cognitive issues that you may not be as able to make quick decisions. You may not be as able to plan 15 steps ahead. Those are all things that could lead to you being concerned or hesitant about driving.
Definitely.
And so the more help you can get with each one of those stages, the better your chances are of having a successful trip.
Definitely. And let alone if it's something that you're going to that's stressful.
Yes.
You know, if you're going somewhere where there's any type of stress or tension, or if someone's ill and you know what I mean? There can be so many different things. So again, when you said the whole cognitive, there's certain emotions are really hard to deal with, and planning, I for myself would, and you've probably found this with clients, you know, if I was told, okay, I'm going to meet you at 10 o'clock at this place, and then if at the last second it was changed, it's not as simple to just, okay, stop, plan my route again, what time do I have to leave now, when am I going to get there? That's a whole
because it took a lot of thinking just to get to 10 o'clock. Now it's changed. Okay.
Exactly. And I even hesitate sharing that because I know my friends and people who've never ever had to deal with this, you feel like, you sound like such a baby, but we know where we're coming from.
We have it with our clients for appointments. We know that it's really difficult sometimes. First of all, getting in the car and driving, have someone helping them. We always warn our clients that you probably will have difficulty driving home if you already have this type of difficulty. Come with somebody, take an Uber, get a ride, get someone to drop you off, because we want you to come relaxed when we're doing as much as possible when we're doing our testing, but we know we're going to be aggravating people throughout the testing. So to think about driving to and from an appointment, that in itself sometimes is enough to make people cancel. They've called and said, look, I just can't manage driving there today because I've had a big day yesterday, or I woke up with a bad headache. And we understand that because the trip itself is a challenge.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. So, yeah. But yeah, we've covered our main things.
Hopefully these tips will help you to think about what you need to prepare for, and some things on how you can make that drive less stressful, and don't feel guilty about needing to take the time to yourself or even not taking that trip.
Exactly. And I just thought of a quote from one of my friends, Haley Hunter Hines. She said, no matter where you are on your journey, it is your job to love yourself. And that, it goes along with no matter what has gone on, if it's something you can go to, you can't go to, if you go to something and your emotions are a little bit out of line, and you feel like you didn't socialize properly, or you said the wrong thing, or you stared off into space. You don't need to explain yourself. Just take care of yourself, and it's okay, and you have people that are there supporting you. We're here supporting you. We're here supporting you,
and just know that behind us are thousands of other people like you who have had the same struggle. You're not alone. You're not the only one who's had these challenges. What you're thinking, feeling, and saying is not stupid. It is real. And actually, I'm going to add that bit about mental health. There's a lot going on about mental health, about how we treat people with mental health and how we treat people who have a physical injury. And it is entirely different. And I'm going to put a link to that. Things like, I broke my hip. I'm sorry, I can't do the run this weekend like I promised you. Oh, okay, we understand. That's too bad. Or, my concussion is really making it difficult for me to get out and do the run today. Oh, come on, just try. Really? Come on, we've been planning this forever. It is as debilitating an injury. So I wish people would understand more that it is a real reason for not doing that event. So don't feel guilty. There are people out here who understand that is
and the
serious.
Ones that don't, just again know that you have us that have your back. And because it's true that people can say some pretty cruel things.
They just don't get it.
Yeah,
they will one day when they experience something that it challenges them, and then they understand. But we hope that that doesn't happen. But just know that there are many out there who understand and support what you're going through.
Exactly, and reach out to us anytime. I'm at Lisa at imbalancepilates.ca, and over at my website I have some freebies. You can pop over there, imbalancepilates.ca. And we'll link up some stuff in the show notes on YouTube. Remember to subscribe to our channel. And if you, we'd love it if you'd share this Facebook video as well. If you know anyone that has concussion. I've got my course, Healthy Brain and Optimal Posture. And I've got some new people going through that right now. So just again, different ways to add Pilates, meditation, mindset, to be productive and positive through post-concussion. You've got some new products here.
So you can get a hold of me at kmonet, KMONET, at opticalm.ca. It's OPTICALM.ca. That's also our website. Full of resources. There's a huge section on concussion and symptoms and research supporting what we do to help those with concussions. So feel free to go there. You can either contact us through the website, do a self-test, or email me at the number, and I will post all these links on the YouTube website as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for tuning in tonight.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and have a lovely rest of your day.
All right. Okay. Goodbye for Concussions Anonymous.
Bye.